Welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. I am Dr. Oolong, the Mad Dr. Spark, joined yet again by Ultra David. Ultra David, how's it going?
It's going really well. I've been really enjoying all the matches so far today. We saw a bunch out of the EU, and now we are watching North America. We just got done watching Group Number 1, Group A in North America, and now we're going to be headed over to the other group. We got two of these groups. We got to get
through. Our NA groups are just so big, and that first set of matches were excellent. We got to see a lot of great gameplay, a lot of weapons we actually didn't see in our first round of matches, and also some pretty nice dance moves, all things considered. We do have, as you said, our second half of our NA matchups today. I think we have our first match right here on standby, which is going to be 24 and Babyspine. And then we'll be getting into our second matchup, Tim and Kronster. Tim actually not quite in North America. Actually, not quite. He's our only Aussie, if I'm getting my locations correct. And just like before, just like the set that you either just saw or saw this morning, we're going to be running through and getting to our top 2 to 3 today. So we got them on standby. And yeah, I don't know if you did manage to catch those last matches, David, but what did you think? I did see a lot of weapons there that we didn't quite see in our EU bracket this morning. Yeah,
it's been cool to see all the variations, right? That's something that we've been remarking upon all day, not just in this tournament, but in previous tournaments too. Really nice to see the different takes on things, whether you bring out big damage, whether you bring out overtime sort of stuff, or are you trying to do space control more, or are you trying to do big damage without necessarily controlling the opponent? There's a lot of different takes on that. I think that's been really cool to watch. I think for me, the one that I enjoyed watching the most, even though it was with fastest, was actually, I think, Josie taking it in the first one that he had versus Woody. It's 3-0, but like just the way that Josie played, it was remarkable. Like it was just amazing to watch.
Always,
such like a tour de force.
He's always a great guy to watch for sure. Okay, and we are going to be getting right into our next match, 24 and Babyspine right here, spending no time. We're wasting no time.
We're in.
Again, just going to go ahead and give another shout out to the Resolution team. I love this arena too. This is my preferred arena. This is 24's arena. I know this because I have played him several times, and I always play on this one. Just absolutely beautiful. So glad that they made this into an arena. But on 24's side, we are seeing the Curve Luma, something we haven't actually seen too much today. Think of that as a Luma Ellipse, except very, very, very hard to fire. Outside of that, we've got the Drunken Raptor Ellipse, and then on Babyspine's side, a lot of the same what we've seen today. We see the Slow Fall Hurricane, we see the Charge Hammer, we see that Fast Hammer Ellipse, which has seen a lot of gameplay today. Oof, all right, and Babyspine taking a big chunk of damage there. That Curve Luma already paying off with 24.
Well, we're here in game number 1. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you expect going into this? There's a lot of hype around 24 as being one of the best in NA. Do you think that that's going to happen here?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm being quite honest with you. 24 had a little bit of a road. It was only during the VRML season that he managed to take Josie's top spot. And it caused, I would say, a little bit of upset in the community overall. He's definitely coming back with a vengeance. They've kind of taken that title back and forth as far as best Blaston player in the world. So it'll be definitely interesting, especially because he's really been utilizing a lot of the tools afforded to him in these last few updates.
Cool to watch Babyspine as well. I watched a ton of his content and learning stuff for this game, so I'm very excited to see him in this situation as well.
Yeah, shout out to Babyspine's channel. Babyspine has if you're getting into Blaston right now, he has a lot of really great videos introducing different weapon concepts. And boom, right there, Curve Luma is going to go ahead and take out Babyspine. Give 24 round 1.
Yeah, pretty solid victory right there by 24 to start things out. So taking a look at his viewpoint, you can see him curving things around Babyspine, trying to duck under and set things up on his own side. Taking a look at his view here.
Yeah, these first-person views just show you how hectic it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
Actually playing these matches. I know they talked about it a lot during the last stream too, but just the level of fitness.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that managed to hit. I think I missed how that exactly hit, but definitely landed with the Luma there, and you can see 24 drop blocking most of that clip, not even managing to stand out of the way of it, and managing to land another Luma shot in the return fire. He's just playing slow and steady.
It's a Hurricane coming towards him now, but he dodges it well. He gets underneath and does some significant damage. Oh, a lot of damage suddenly on Babyspine.
Yeah, that Raptor Ellipse. So he's running the Luma Ellipse and the Viper Ellipse too for the double curve damage. Bring in the fast Hammer Ellipse, and he's got a pretty quick build on his side.
Yeah, I mean, this dude's got Raptor Ellipse, Hammer Ellipse, Viper Ellipse, and the Luma with the attachment that makes it Ellipse. So he's out here trying to curve stuff.
He's out here trying to curve his opponent. Yep, and managing to get out of that first match with only, I'd maybe say, 2 damage to his name. So, all right, and we are going to go into a weapon swamp. Pretty strong start for 24 here. Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't need to change very much if he doesn't want to. I mean, of course, the rule is that you can, but the way that he played that was fantastic. He was able to dodge. He was able to find hits, and sometimes it comes down to something like that, right? If you can avoid getting hit, and if you can get the hits, then you get the W, and that's exactly what he did right there. So it's up to Babyspine, really, to make the adaptation at this point.
Yeah, and you can see here the sort of change in mindset. We saw a lot this morning, a lot of builds that were focused on doing small amounts of poke damage over time. Now we're seeing the big damage come out in the form of the Viper Ellipse and the Luma Ellipse.
Yeah.
On 24 side, and I mean that slow fall hurricane. We saw a lot of fast fall hurricanes in the previous bracket, but that slow fall hurricane is also a preferred option for a lot of players. Being able to put down that layer of bullets and just have them slowly sink into your opponent's play area.
Sure, that can really force the opponent to move into different locations where they may not want to be. It can force them to move forward, for example, into an uncomfortable position, or wherever you can force them to. That said, that just didn't really happen, right? That may be the goal. That may be what you want to do. Like, that's why you're picking the weapon. But that wasn't what Babyspine was able to force 24 into. So having seen that, maybe if you're Babyspine, you take a different tack. My understanding is that historically he's been somebody who has a more defensive playstyle. Can you talk to that?
Yeah. As far as a defensive playstyle for the slow fall?
For Babyspine, he's somebody who I've heard has made things like the bunker barrier work out in the past.
Okay, I got what you're saying now. I was like, wait a minute. Because Babyspine, I mean, he does get out there a lot of the time. But yeah, no, definitely more of a slow player. Really that was a meta that existed prior to these previous round of updates. Where a lot of the tournaments, given I love to see them still, but a lot of the tournaments would have, double, triple shields, where you'd run the Cortex, the Aegis, and the bunker, and your main source of damage would actually be your shield tosses themselves.
Oh, wow.
It used to be, I think it still is actually, that the bunker would do 8 damage on toss rather than the 3 damage that most shields do use.
It does 6.
And so it's 6. Okay, there you go. And you just sit back and you throw your shields at your opponent, and then you just kind of sit there for 2 minutes.
Interesting.
He actually was very good in that meta. I mean, still making that bunker barrier work from time to time. I'd be very surprised if I saw him bring it now. Okay. But let's go ahead. We're going to look at his build through that lens, and actually seeing something that I'm not used to seeing on his build right now. He has the extra collision hammer. So this is actually trading damage for. He's trading damage for even more collision, and actually, I got to look at the. Rat 2 running double lasers. This is something that we've kind of seen recently. I actually thought that he was running the Lance name too, the splitting Lance name, but I guess not. He's going to go ahead and set up a whole field of lasers and then go in with the Luma to try and trap 24, trying to force him out of that position. Ooh! And he's going to get caught right on the end. 24 is going to go ahead and take round 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a completely different build for Babyspine here. He still has the Aegis shield, which he had before, and he still has the hammer as well, but other than that, totally different.
And coming out from 24, we're seeing a bit of a callback from a similar build we saw earlier today, but even further into it. 5 nades on that build, and 24 seems to be pretty content to juggle all of them, or as many of them as he possibly can. We just saw a 4-nade juggle there.
That's awesome.
Yep, we might. Ooh, okay, only 3 nades this time around. Only 3 nades this time around. Ooh, and taking his attention off of the front of his play area and managing to land both of those Lumas. As long as he can watch out for when these lasers are going off. Oh my God, that was saw a combo. Ooh, that very nice follow-through from Babyspine.
So that was a lot of damage right there, but partly seemingly a self-error, unforced error necessarily. So, okay, we're juggling, we're making things happen.
We're juggling again!
And then the Luma's there.
Even more juggling.
The Luma's there to put on this big damage afterward. He does find it. He finds the hit with the Luma itself. The bow tossed at the opponent.
Oh!
Hey, here we go.
Babyspine manages to take it back with the Luma himself. And he's going to go ahead and take round 2. Yeah, very interesting how
what a total change.
You know, it's almost 24 might be getting just a little bit greedy here. A little bit greedy, a little bit overconfident, but it's what we love to see either way.
Babyspine moving around, waiting for stuff to come back for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, 24's build has a deceptively long cooldown if you think about it.
Yeah, that lands for 9 seconds.
Is because with his nades, you know, compared to a weapon where you might be able to use it for a couple seconds, even the lasers stay active for a couple seconds while they recharge. Those nades don't start respawning back in until they go off. So that sort of plays into the extended cooldown that he has. Most of those nades are also between 4 and 5 seconds. The only exception there is going to be that Majestic nade, which is the beam cage that you see. That's going to clock in at the least.
Right.
Doesn't seem, again, it seems like what he's really trying to do.
Here we go.
Really just trying to distract Babyspine so we can go in with the Luma.
Yeah, I think that's the goal as well. But right now, doesn't have the Luma up. He did toss out a couple of bombs after the single-handed juggles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to add up big time there for Babyspine.
Here we go. We might see Babyspine take a game, too. Here comes a Luma. Let's see it.
Gotta find the big hits. He finds one. He finds a chunk of something else as well. 30 on the clock.
I can't express how hard it is to use the curve.
Whoa! He exploded.
Yeah, that does tend to happen. That does tend to happen. Now, I actually had mentioned it in the EU bracket earlier that if a full hammer nade goes out on you, specifically the extra spread hammer nade, it will one-shot you. And that's what you saw right there, is that it one-shotted Babyspine.
Wow, okay. Well, there you go. Those are 2 games that, obviously, neither one worked out for Babyspine. They both brought very different builds into the second game than they had in game number 1. And in either case, it didn't work out for Babyspine. So he's got to go somewhere else, I guess. Do you have any idea where he would go at this point?
Well, I think that he did well in that match. First off, you know, I think that the double lasers and then following it up with a high damage weapon like a Luma, beautiful. Love that. Love that. I think it really, at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but he needs to be dodging. And you know what? I will say that 24 using that curve Luma, he is making it look so incredibly easy. So I'm instead going to go a little bit into the mechanics of how that works, because every other ellipse weapon goes off the curve of the weapon. So if I flick my wrist like this, it's going to cause my bullet to curve down. With that Luma, it's how you pull the drawstring back. So he has to pull the drawstring back in a curve in order to fire off a curve in the opposite direction. So it's also not intuitive like the normal Viper ellipse is. So the fact that he is I think this is less about what Babyspine can do to stop this. And really, at the end of the day, it has to just be dodge. But the fact that 24 has such precision with this Luma ellipse, I mean, there's a reason you don't see other top-level players running. They're just running base Luma, because it's just not worth it to risk possibly missing your opponent by trying to add in that additional curve. As far as things he could do to stop it, I think that definitely running some stuff with more collision Even something like just a Raptor, we've seen that being used defensively a lot today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, lasers do not count as weapons with high collision, that's for sure. Or possibly just switching to a bit of a beefier shield. In his coin toss video earlier, he did pick the Aegis shield. I saw that. But maybe this is one of the situations where he needs to be playing around a little bit with that Cortex shield, especially considering that 24 has been bringing that the fast hammer ellipse, and that could definitely suck up a lot of those bullets.
It's very interesting that that 24 had that switch to the full nade build and the Luma, like rather than the Viper ellipse, which he also had in the previous game. He wanted to specifically keep that Luma. I think that really goes to show is what you were talking about, that he has mastered the movement with that weapon in a way that other people really haven't.
Yeah, which all things considered, horrifying, terrifying that he's going to be bringing that into this bracket. There's a couple players who have really drilled in hard on that curve Luma, just to call out Shermie, and then hopefully we see it later on, but Kronster also, although he usually runs the double Vipers at this point. But, I can definitely tell that, that's his focus heading into this bracket, and I think that's really what he's saying here, is that, hey, I'm not wasting my time with other high damage dealing weapons. I'm going to go with the Luma, and that's going to be my damage-dealing weapon. And my goal in all of these matches is to hit my opponent 5 times. 5 times will kill someone.
Right, yeah. I mean,
we are getting into it.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll see what the switches are going to be. They both, again, had big changes last time. Will there be big ones again?
I think the big difference here is Babyspine obviously dropping the double lasers and bringing the curve Luma himself, and then the Viper ellipse as well.
Got rid of his regular Raptor as well.
And 24, as far as his strategy here, of course it's hit with the Luma, but really every other weapon that he has in this combo is just a distraction. It's just a way to get Babyspine to take his eyes off the ball, and so he can sneak even more curved Luma shots through.
Well, we'll see if Babyspine's change here can make some of the difference. Raptor Lips for him comes out, trying to find some hits. He does!
And 24 is just making it look ridiculously easy. In case you haven't caught it, while he's dodging, he's also drop blocking using those nades. Ooh, doesn't manage to drop block that's for sure. And he's doing it so seamlessly that it's kind of hard to tell that he's doing anything at all.
Oh, man.
He makes it look so natural, like the bullets just aren't going to hit him.
His movement is pretty incredible. Look at how fast he's moving around here. He was able to react, seemingly, to the Viper Ellipse movement, too.
Ooh!
Dang, nailed him!
Yeah, I always make the joke that 24 plays on one of those little rolling plat you used to have in elementary school.
Okay, yeah.
The ones that always press your fingers up against the wall, and that's what he uses to just slide across the floor in such a seamless manner.
Yeah, 13 on the clock here, and Babyspine's going to need to find something big right away. No dice. His 24 finds a hit instead. He's at match point.
Very good. Oh, Captain also says that he's one of this group. He calls me a traitor. Which,
well, there you go.
Hey,
look, both these guys have Curve Luma right now.
He wasn't playing Curve Luma last night. Oh, no, that Nova making contact!
It's a bad start for Babyspine and what could be the last round for him.
No. Got it.
God, look at that. You can just see the movement.
He's got some. He should really be running that curve Luma as well, I think. That's some great accuracy for Babyspine. Again, I think this is less a testament to what Babyspine needs to be doing better, and more a testament to just how easy 24 makes this look. It's all coming together for him. The movement, the strategy.
Yeah, really forcing Babyspine to pay attention to those nades when they are ready to go. You can see how Babyspine was forced to react there, and as a result, not take offense, when maybe he could have otherwise.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to even focus on just one nade here.
Yeah, sure.
By the way, if you're a new player, I would highly recommend running this sort of loadout. Just literally swap out that Luma with, if you don't want to run the curve Luma, you could run the base Luma, or you could run the Viper Ellipse. There we go! Babyspine going in the Viper lift there, and following it up with a Luma
Couple
shot.
Lumas,
Excellent,
yes.
excellent. Managing to get him back in this. But it's a lot of fun, and it's also sort of it's a lesson in how to really cycle through your loadouts effectively. Because usually when you're running an old nade loadout, when you aren't 24, you're trying to use about 2 nades at once, or going ahead and juggling them like that and using 3 nades. But, you know, again, the more nades you use at once, the longer your overall cooldown for everything else in your kit. So it makes it kind of difficult to use everything at once consistently.
Last chance for Babyspine here. He's got the Luma in hand. If he can find a hit, a couple hits is what he needs. He's not going to find any of them. It's going to be 24, taking it 3 games to 0.
Good games. Great game.